Probability is something we hear a lot about, like the chance it's going to snow, the chance it's going to rain, the chance of winning the lottery, or the chances of being called on in class. Probability can be figured out by looking at the number of favorable outcomes, which here I call success, and dividing that by the total number of possible outcomes. Here I call it total. So we can remember this. Probability is found by success over total, or success divided by total. For example, the probability of getting a 3 on this dice right here would be one chance of getting a 3, so that would be like one success, or you win if you land on a 3, out of 6 total numbers. So the probability of getting a 3 would be 1/6, or 1 out of 6. The fact about probability it always has to be somewhere between 0% and 100%. So you can never have a chance of something happening be less than 0, and the chances could never be more than 100%, because 100% means it is absolutely going to happen. So follow along as I show you how this works. Here we have a die, and there are 6 equally likely outcomes if the number is going to be rolled, and the sides are labeled from 1 through 6. So find the probability of getting a 6, and here we write it like this, or which would be, so the probability of rolling a 6 is, well, there's only one 6 on that dice, so one success out of, let's see how many numbers are on the die, 6. So the probability is 1 out of 6. We can represent that probability as a fraction, 1/6. We divide the numerator and denominator to get a decimal, 0.166 repeating, written with bar notation. Or we can change it to a percent, and we move the decimal 2 places to the right, and then round it. So it'd be 16.7, because I rounded the 10th place, percent. So we're going to write it as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. Okay, pause the video and find the probability of a coin landing on heads. Think of it as success out of total, and write it as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. So it's considered success if it lands on the heads. So that would be 1 success out of 2 total. So our fraction for the probability is 1/2. 1/2 is the same as 5/10, and 5/10 or 1/2 is also the same as 50%. So when you flip a coin, there's a 50% chance it's going to land on a heads. Okay, follow along as I do this one. We're going to find the probability of rolling a 2, a 3, or a 4 on this regular number cube. Well, how many successes would that be? Well, there's 3 of them. There's 1 of each of them, so that's a total of 3 successes, and there are 6 numbers on each of the dice. So that's 3 out of 6. And we're going to write that as a fraction, so we would simplify it to get 1/2. And we know that 1/2 is the same as 5/10, and that is also 50%. Okay, pause the video and find the probability of getting a 2 or a 5 on a 6-sided number cube. And remember to write it as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. Since there are 2 ways of being successful, landing on a 2 or a 5, then it's 2 out of 6, which simplifies to 1/3. Written as a decimal, we divide the numerator and the denominator to get 0.3 with the bar notation, the 3's are repeating. And then we move our decimal to the right 2 place values, and we get 33%. Okay, try this one out on your handout. Find the probability of getting an F. Well, there's 1 F on that spinner, so that's 1 success right here out of 10 possible letters. And then 1/10, read that out loud, and it tells you the decimal, 1/10. Move your decimal 2 places to the right to get your percent, 10%. So think about when you hear the chances of it going to rain. Let's say there's a 25% chance of it raining today. Well, wait a second. What's the probability that it won't rain then? That it will not rain? Well, if it's 25 that it will, then all the rest up to 100 are the chances that it will not. So there's a 75% chance that it will not rain. This is actually something special. It's called the complement to the event. Complement to the event. And the important key word is the word not. So to find the probability of not rolling a 6, I think about, well, okay, so how many numbers on that dice are not a 6? That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's 5 numbers that would be successful at a 6 total. And then we're going to divide 5 by 6 to get our decimal. And the decimal would be 0.83 with the 3 repeating. We move our decimal 2 places to the right to change it to a percent, and it's 83% or 83.3%. There is the probability of getting a number that's not a 6. So say you have a bag of marbles, 5 blue, 8 red, and 7 green. You're going to reach in and randomly pull out a marble. What's the chances or probability the marble will not be red? Well, first of all, how many marbles are in that bag? So you have to add them all up, and you're going to find there's 20. Go ahead and pause the video and find the probability of getting one that is not red. This is the complement to the event, remember? So if there are 20 of them and 8 are red, we're going to subtract that to figure out how many are not red. So it would be 12 out of 20. So 12 out of 20 simplifies to 3/5. Divide the numerator and denominator to get your decimal version, and it would be 0.6 or 6/10. And then multiply by 100 to get your percent, or think of it as 0.60, 60 hundredths, and there's your percent, 60%. So we have 3 forms right here, 3/5, 6/10, and 60%. So in the class you can see that there's 30% of the students that have blue eyes, and then it directly says, hey, find the complement to this event. So the complement would be all the rest. Pause the video and find how many do not have blue eyes. Well, we would have 100%, take away the 30% that have blue eyes, and you will have 70% do not have blue eyes. Okay, remember that to find probability, you think of how many, the chances that something is going to occur would be the success of it, and that would be out of how many possibilities there are, the total, so success over total. Where if they ask for the complement to the event, that's how many it would be not happening. So look for the word not.